not a big deal. But then you're like, but it is a big deal. Like for them, they don't get it that this lady was just being. They're like, no, I'm black, and that's why it's different. You know what I mean? Like you can't just example from a TV show I watched.
Okay.
So the black dude did not want to impregnate the white woman, but he did. The white woman came to him and she's like, you don't have to be involved, whatever. And he's like, no, he's like, I can't just come out of his. And the black guy was trying to explain to her how he's like, no, I can't just fall out of this child's life. Mm-hmm. It looks bad on a black person, on a black. And then she's like, no, you don't have to bother. She just didn't. She's like, why are you saying like that? And she just didn't get it. She's like, no, you by yourself trying to raise a black child, it makes no sense. And she was not getting the difference. She's like, I'm a black man. My child's gonna be black in America. I just can't leave him. Mm-hmm. You know, he didn't want the child. Exactly, he didn't want a child with that woman because they were just hooking up casually. But the woman is like, I'm going to keep this child no matter what you say. Mm-hmm. But then he's like, well, then I feel obligated. I have to be in their life.
Right.
And then she's like, I can raise a child. She's like, I've raised 2 children already. I can do this by myself too. She's like, yeah, but your other children are white. Mm-hmm. This one is going to be black, and this is going to be different. Yeah. You know. And then it was like an issue. They like had a big argument because she wasn't getting it. Why he was having a big deal. She's like, I'm giving you an out. I'm saying you don't have to be part of this child's life. Mm-hmm. And he was like, I can't do that. Mm-hmm. Not being black. Not when that child's going to be black in America.
Right.
So it's like stuff like that, and it was like they just kind of parted because it was like a big fight, and she was like, I'm leaving.
That makes sense. Now, I see how that makes sense. Like, I mean? If that's what it is, and they don't understand, like, why that's, like, problematic because of the child being a black child, like, yeah, then that's probably not a relationship that would work. I'm just
giving you, like, if you're looking at it just as a man and woman, she's like, I'm giving you an out. You don't have to take care of this child. I'm just telling you that I'm pregnant now, and I'm going to take care of this child. Mm-hmm. However, you as a white woman saying that you're going to just take care of this black child, and you're just like, you're going to be fine. It's not going to be the same, you know? And for her, it was like watching the scene was very interesting because she wasn't getting it. Yeah. And she was actually getting upset that he was insinuating something. He was like, no, I'm a black man in America, and you're about to raise my child. Mm-hmm. My child's going to be at least black or look more like me than you. Mm-hmm. So, no, like, he's like, I can't just leave the child from all the stigma that's on black men. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, of course, the black man leaves that child. You know, he's like, he's not going to do that.
And, like, I see what you mean. Because, like, culturally, she doesn't get it. She doesn't understand, like, what a black person in America.
And she was a rich white woman, privileged white woman.
Can go through. It's like, you don't understand. Like, if this were a world without racism, then yeah, what you said would make sense. Mm-hmm. But this is not the world we live in, so it makes a difference. Mm-hmm. And it's, like, interesting. Like, you remember Widows?
No, I never watched that.
You didn't watch Widows? Mm-mm. Oh, wow.
You did. I remember you did, but I didn't.
Okay. You should watch it. It's a good movie. Well, I mean, I just love Viola Davis in anything, pretty much. She's just brilliant in anything she starts. I love her. But it's a good movie because, like, I don't want to... You know what? People used to stuff getting spoiled by us anyway. So but, like, she's with Liam Neeson's character. They're married. Mm. And, like, part of the things that they, like, went through is their son died. Mm. And their son, you know, he's mixed. Mm-hmm. But, you know, he looks like a black young man. Light skin, but, well, medium to light.
He looked like Trevor Noah.
And he was driving, like, this nice sports car. It's a red sports car, so.
They thought he stole it, didn't they?
They thought something. I mean, honestly, a red sports car is probably like a red flag for any young man or woman. I mean, it's red in a sports car. Like insurance wise, it's a like high.
Car's red too, but I don't be speeding like that, so they need to come off me.
And it was also a sports car though, so like that, so like that's vroom, like an automatic like police are going to be on the lookout for it. And he was like driving his parents' car, and like he got pulled over, and then the police officer pulled him, and he was like, well, no, it's my parents' car. I was supposed to be like picking something up for my dad. He was like, I'm just getting like my ID. And like he reached, like he twisted like really fast, and the cop jumped and like shot him. Of course. Because he was,
of course,
a young black man.
Yeah.
More than likely. And
that was in the Widows movie?
Yeah. See? And it's like, that's the difference. Like, the reason, like, and that was part of, like, Viola Davis's character. She was like, the reason our son is dead is because he was my son. Mm-hmm. Is because, you know, because he was black. This would not have happened.
If he was white, they would have let him reach for it and grab it without any issues. And so, I'm not here to say that, like, when it comes to interracial couples or anything, like, I'm not a guy, because, again, it's a man and a woman. you fall in love with the person, and the person, irregardless of what they look like, whatever. And I'm not against other races. I like all the shades of brown. Honestly, everybody's like a shade of brown, really. But it's just when it comes to those cultural things, it's like I think about like, are they gonna get it? Like, so if I were to get with you, a white person, are you gonna get this? Am I gonna have to explain this to you? And then, of course, I have the other thing of having Nigerian heritage, and that's even more explanation because it's completely different from what they may know of Black culture,
right,
or Black American culture. You know what I mean? At the same time, it's like I noticed there's honestly watching some of the documentaries and things I've seen, like, it's so interesting to me how there's stuff that Black people do here in America that is directly linked to what is done in Africa. It's like that part of them has not died out. It just manifested in a different form here. Like, Africans are very spiritual. Black Americans are always in the church, you know? Africans dance for everything. Black people dance all the time. Like, you know, that's one of our stereotypes that all of us can dance. You know what I mean? It's just all these things, the way we cook foods and innards and everything. It's so interesting. There's a documentary that I think everybody should go and watch called High on the Hog. Watch it. It's on Netflix, and it was so interesting because it talks about the transformation of food from Africa to the South and how American Southern Black food became what it is. And so it traces it back, and it's really, really kind of moving and awesome. Plus, beautiful food. It's yummy. But it talks about how it's so interesting that even though slaves were not given the best parts of the animals to eat, they were given all the scraps and all that kind of stuff, which is considered like the low grade parts. Yeah. But if you look at Africans don't waste any part of the animal anyway. So it's like they knew what to do already, because in Africa they eat all the inner parts, and I mean they eat the goat head, everything. My mom can crush some heads because like things animals that we love, like in Black culture. What is it? That pig, the pig part of the pig, the intestines. Chitlins.
Chitlins. We love chitlins, and that is like something that, you know, is probably. I
love tripe, which is cow intestine. I really do love it. It's called shaki in my culture.
But like that sounds like it came from like what you're talking about, because nobody would really want to eat like chitlins. It's like a Black culture because it was left over. I mean, it's the freaking lower intestine. You have to clean the shit out of it.
Yes, you do. It's disgusting. I remember my mom bought a fresh one time, and I was like, I almost stopped eating shaki. I think I did for a little bit.
I didn't even know that that's what it. I mean, it didn't. It didn't. When my mom would talk about how you would have to clean chitlins, because like by the time I was old enough to have memories of stuff, they would always the cleaned ones were available, and that's what they always bought, because nobody wants to spend time cleaning them. So I had never experienced her or my dad cleaning chitlins, but when they told me that it's full of shit and stuff, so that's why you had to clean them, because when they said you had to clean them, in my mind it didn't make. I thought it was like collard greens. You put some salt in there, you rinse it, and you're good. You gotta clean.
I've smelled it from it's disgusting. It's totally disgusting. But I just thought it was interesting how it's like, so really Black people should feel connected all over. And that brings us to our topic for today. Hey guys, what's up?
What's up, you guys?
This is Triple F Queen Bola on the Mizike.
And no tagline Whitney on the mic.
Yes. And we are BlerdTalk with Bola and Whitney, and you've of course caught us in the middle of a riveting conversation.
Indeed. And you know what? Before we actually like get into stuff, I do want to circle back to what you were talking about on like relationships and marriage. Because when you were saying that, it made me think of, I actually read like the David Copperfield book. It's a thickum book.
I like a thickum book.
Yeah. But like,
how thick we talking? Like fifth book Harry Potter?
It's thick, and you know it's not no big like type. It's like it takes you a while to get through that. But like, I might have it over there. Should lend it to you or something. It's really good. But who is it by?
You said David Copperfield?
Yeah, Charles Dickens.
Charles Dickens or Mark Twain?
Yeah, Charles Dickens is who it's by. But like, there's this really great, because I feel like it was either a Hallmark production of David Copperfield, because it was a miniseries, because it's long, you know, but book is thick, so like it had to be a miniseries. It couldn't just be a movie. I think they've done a couple of them, but I think the one I remember, it was either like a Hallmark one or like maybe PBS. I feel it was probably a Hallmark movie, but it was really good. And one of the main character, David Copperfield, he's like, his kind of person who he's meant to be with is like Agnes, but he marries someone else first. And she's a kind of a ditzy chick, That sounded like Dixie Chicks. Ditzy, Ditzy. But she passes away, and then he eventually does get together with Agnes. But there's this other couple in the book who there's this young woman, and she's married to this old dude, like much. But the thing is, she loves him, and he keeps trying to like almost like push her away because he's like, you deserve someone young. And who's like you. And one of the quotes in David Copperfield that's so good is, there can be no disparity in marriage like unsuitability of mind and purpose.
Ooh, that's deep.
Yeah.
That's deep.
And it made me think of it. It's like
that.
So it doesn't, I feel like it's not so much a matter of like race and culture. It's if your mind and purpose are not aligned. Because if your mind and purpose are aligned, even though you're different races and cultures, you're going to understand
that's true
where this person is coming from.
Yeah, that's true. Because you can be with the same race person and y'all are not aligned in mind.
Worlds apart,
purpose at all. You're right. And I agree. I think that's the deeper thing, which is why I wouldn't be against interracial marriage at all or anything. I'm not at all anyway. But I was thinking about people that I know or family members I know who are like, I would not date a white person because I don't want to have to explain my culture. I don't want to have to do this. I don't want to have to do that. And they're like, their response is like, it's just easier. And I'm like, oh, well, okay, but I get her point.
And it also, I think, depends on like what type of what kind of person you are. How in touch are you with your culture? Yeah, because there are some people who are, know what they are Uncle Ruckuses. Where
I've never heard that. Uncle Ruckus, what's that?
From Boondocks.
Oh, yeah. Was that his name? Oh, I haven't seen that in so long.
I think it was
the big eye.
Yeah. Like that. Yeah, then it's probably not going to be a problem. But if you're in touch with your culture, then it could be it could be a problem because you're in touch with it. You experience it. You embrace it. You exude it because you love it. It's part of you.
It yourself.
You embody it.
It's not like
so.
Forced.
If that's the case for you, then it's going to be a problem. If you're not in touch with your culture, whether it's Black, Asian, whatever culture you have, if you're not really in touch with it, then it's probably not going to be a problem because you're out of touch with your culture. So I think like the disparity of mind quote just comes into play.
That's really good, Whitney. Thank you. Can we just snap at Whitney on that one? That quote is very good. We have to put that quote up somewhere, okay?
Remember we'll throw it in the show notes, you guys.
Yeah. All right. So as you all know, it's still February. It's Black History Month,
you guys.
So we're talking about these issues, y'all. We talking about these issues. And so for today's episode, we are. Well, we and Whitney have said this in the past that we're just kind of like tired of during this month, you do want to reflect on the past and what has been done in history. And I'm definitely a big supporter of like relearning history because especially for Black people, we actually have to learn because a lot of it's been shielded, covered up, or reformed for us. And we have to unlearn. The amount
of people who did not know about Black Wall Street before Watchmen.
Yes.
It's sad. It's so sad because they don't teach that type of stuff.
They don't. So we have to relearn and keep relearning stuff for ourselves. But at the same time, it's like we also want to showcase the new and the uplifting and the Blackness without the pain and suffering and oppression that we always experience
Black
all the time.
Black beauty, Black excellence, Black girl magic.
And that is why we are talking about Black is King today.
Yeah.
Yes, this is dripping with just blackness. And I love it, and I hope if you're listening and you're not Black, you can just join and exude Blackness with us. I don't know what else to tell you.
I know you can.
Catch some of that Black drip.
If y'all listen, I mean, you can. And I feel like
catch some of the swagoo.
We do. I mean, we still got a long way to go, but I feel like we've made some progress as well. You look at stuff like Black Panther, or even on the Asian side, like Crazy Rich Asians
and Shang-Chi,
things that people previously would have not people, but like Hollywood would have said this is not going to be successful because it's too cultural, it's too ethnic. Exactly. But it's like no, people loved it. People love experience other cultures.
Yes, exactement. Especially in the West, where it just seems like we're supposed to just follow this westernized culture, and it's just like, well, you're supposed to, assimilate here, and I don't know, but I just think that that representation matters phrase is so, like, I know everyone's tired of hearing it, but it needs to be reiterated all the time, because there's a line in the Black is King where it was talking about how it's like you were beautiful before you were beauty before they knew what beauty was, you know, or that you need to reclaim your glory, remember who you are, find your way back, all those kind of things. It's like we need to keep remembering our glory, our beauty, ourselves, our king and queenship.
When you said that, it just reminds me of how well, I guess, Beyonce figured out how well it tied into the Lion King, because that line in the original cartoon, it's also in the remake 3D. Anyway,
we're not gonna talk about that.
But like when Mufasa, like in the like cloud spirit version, is like, remember who you are. You are my son and the one true king. But like remember, it really resonates with us, especially like for Black people,
diaspora Africans and
yes,
Blacks.
I was about to say, especially like you said, for diaspora Black people, because we were separated. So for us, like, I feel like there was a quote in there, or one of the poetry readings during Black is King, where it's like, if you don't remember who you are, or if you don't know who you are, how can you tell them who you are?
It's something, I know what you're talking about. That same line, it's like it was something along the lines about that you haven't seen, sometimes you haven't seen yourself reflected so much you forgot who you are. It was something along those lines, and you're right, and I think that is super, super important, because I don't know if you like experience this or if you look at this, because sometimes I do this weird thing where I search up, I kind of follow on YouTube sometimes Black people that live in other countries or they travel to other countries, and I listen to and watch their experiences. And I have this common denominator, like, thing that I see throughout all of it, that Black people are treated the same way everywhere almost. And it's like, we constantly get the low barrel. We're constantly the ones where they're like, you're either just so out of their blue that they don't know how to react, that you're treated like some kind of commodity where they want to touch your hair, or commodity is not the word, some kind of enigma or something where they want to touch your hair, they want to rub your skin to see if it comes off. That happened to a girl in Korea. Or they want to or they just treat you lower than low, where you're like, oh, no Blacks here, now I ain't picking up no Blacks in my truck. And it's like, I was like, why are we treated like this everywhere though? Black people getting like racism and discrimination in China and Japan and in Singapore and all these places, in India.
And I feel like it's because ridiculous. Media is like global, and we've been depicted in a certain way for generations.
Yes, and that's why we decided to talk about Black is King, because Beyonce, just culture mover and shaker, and everybody, I don't care if you like Beyonce something. So you've seen Beyonce something. You might not be a fan or a part of the hive, that's fine, but you've seen some. She's such a cultural icon that everybody's just going to watch us because it's her. And I feel like she was positioned for a time such as this, especially when this came out, and it came out in 2020.
Come through with some Ruth, or is that Esther? Crap.
I don't know.
Ruth
is the one with Boaz, and Esther is the one that married.
Oh, that's right. Okay,
that's from the Bible, y'all.
Come through with some Esther for such a time as this.
Exactly.
Yes.
Where we ended up with, it was right after the George Floyd. I don't even know what to call that. There's not an egregious enough word, just to explain that stupidity and that just pure evil that happened to him for no reason at all. They said it was a counterfeit $20 bill that no one even, I don't even know. But anyway, it just was terrible, and you guys know all the fallout. We don't have to rehash this. But then this came out later on, around June. And it was still, things were still bubbling in the streets in our society and on the world, really, on the world stage. And I felt like she was helping us to remind ourselves of who we are, because it was like all over. Black people are just seeing that, man, this pain.
You are my son and the one true king.
Everyone was just remembering, rehashing all this pain and suffering, and why are they doing this to us? Why are we constantly attacked? Black people were feeling attacked and scared all over the place by people supposed to be in power. And I felt like she gave us some empowerment. She gave us some, it's like a healing balm almost. And it was reaching out to both diaspora and Africans.
It
was really like a balm.
It's just a love letter to Black people.
Yes, all over the world, wherever you are.
And a celebration of Black. Black is king.
Exactly.
Yes.
And before we get really, really into it, because we are going to get really, really into it, y'all, we want to blerd out. Blerd out. Blerd out. Blerd out. Blerd out.
I should just clip that part.
Okay, so Whitney, you want to go first? Why don't you go first? Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I got into this new series on HBO Max. I don't know if I mentioned this before or not. Called Raised by Wolves.
No, I never heard that.
Okay.
One. But isn't that a movie from the past?
No, it's a series.
But there's something by wolves from like a long time ago.
Dances with Wolves?
Oh. That's what it was.
No,
Kevin Costner,
This
right?
is Raised by Wolves, and it's a Ridley Scott, and I actually really love Ridley Scott. He's like the creator of the Alien series, so like Alien, Aliens, Alien 2 or 3, anyway, and Alien Resurrection with Sigourney Weaver. Love her in those. But so good. And then, like Prometheus, which turned out to be like part of the Alien universe. I still have not figured out yet, and I'm not done watching all of season 2. I think they do it like in weekly drops, as opposed to like the Netflix drop all of the stuff. I can't figure out yet if this is part of the Alien universe or not, but I kind of feel like it might be tying in somehow, but it's just really good. I like it.
Okay. Dances with Wolves. I mean,
Raised by Wolves on HBO Max.
Like
it might be an HBO show.
Yeah, I think I've seen
It's got
a
like
clip.
androids, and they like bleed the white stuff, just like the ones from like the Alien series. And there was one other one. What else did I start watching? Oh, I started watching a series on Hulu with my mom recently called Only Murders in the Building.
Oh my goodness.
It's really
Is
good,
that the
actually.
one with Martin Shore?
Yes, Steve Martin
and Martin Shore.
And
What's his name, right?
what's her name?
And Selena Gomez.
Selena Gomez. It is, and it's actually.
Is it like a murder mystery show?
It is. It's like a murder mystery, and they have like They just start like a podcast about like this murder mystery that happened in their building. Oh. So it's kind of funny because it's they're podcasting. Yeah,
I'm telling you, that pod life.
That's right, but it's good. It's interesting. It's good. It is actually good.
That's cool. Is that all we're blurting out about?
I think that's all. Yeah. I might have forgot something, but if so, I'll bring it up in another episode. But that's what I'm learning out about. What's about you, girl?
Yeah, so it's still, like I said, it's still Black History Month, so I'm excited about different things I see that are going on in the world. I remember I mentioned the Target closed last time, and then also like books are coming out. And even in our local place of Richmond, there's like a new bookstore that opened up, and she opened it up this beginning of this month for Black History Month. And I was surprised to hear the stat that it's the first Black-owned bookstore in Richmond, and it's one of 4 in the whole state. And I was like, wow. That was a crazy stat to me, because I'm like, so we really are not out here owning no bookstores? That's a problem.
I guess I could see why it would be low, because I feel like for anybody it would be hard to open a bookstore.
Yeah, because like nobody reads now.
Barnes and Noble and stuff, you got these really big ones. So to have like a small one, I feel like it would be really hard to, as a business, to keep that going. Yeah,
but I think her model is that it's called
experience.
Book Bar. It's a Black experience because it's owned by Black, and it only features books by Black artists and authors. And so you can find all sorts of genres in there. You can also sip some wine. There was some Black Girl Magic wine. I really like that Black Girl Magic line. They're like a brand, actually. Oh my God, I love their rosé. I always buy a bottle from Sam's Club, and it's really good. But Black Girl Magic, it's like everything is called Black Girl Magic. That's the name, and I just thought it was amazing. But you can go to the place and like chill. And I'm not sure if you can buy books or something yet. I hope for me and Whitney can go soon and check it out. But I just love that open. The woman is a psychologist. So she's a working psychologist. So that's what she does. And then she has this little spot open downtown. And it's actually somewhere in the Chaco Slip where it was like, we're near the slave burial ground and stuff. So I remember she was talking about how it was so meaningful to her to be open somewhere doing what she was doing where Black people had died and suffered and all that kind of stuff.
Well, you a good one, girl, because
I wouldn't know.
I feel like for
ghosts.
me, exactly. We tend to avoid that type of thing. Like,
yeah, but it's still in,
modern
in the
horror
slip,
movies
you know what I mean?
are just not very true to life, because at the first sign of some ish going down, we'd be like, there's actually a new movie coming out. I feel like it's Jordan Peele involved, but the movie is called Nope.
Yep.
And that's exactly what we'd be like. Like, you wouldn't even be able to make a full movie because we take one
like,
look and be like,
finger up.
nope.
You gotta put the finger up, the pointer finger up, and then we out. Like, that's it.
Nope.
I don't mess with it. But it's still like somewhere in the chakra slip, so it's like in between on Main Street or something. So I think she was just talking about symbolically that region was
I know, I was joking about the whole thing. But
I know, I get you.
But seriously, I'm joking, but I'm not joking. Because if your little thing is built on some burial ground, I am not visiting it after dark. Maybe in the bright light of day, I might check out a museum, but I will not be.
We ain't fitting her, okay? We ain't fitting her. Do not.
Say you ain't getting us that way.
Nope. Anyway, but I'm excited for what Black people are doing. They're out here doing so much stuff, and even I keep telling, I always have to pump up my Nigerians because every time I turn around, they all here doing more stuff, making me look bad.
Every time I move, I lose. When I look, I'm in. Every time I turn around, back in love again. Right back in love again.
That's all I knew. I didn't know the rest.
Seems like back in love. Okay, sorry.
Knows all I didn't know the rest. I just knew that little part because that's all I saw from the movie. That's the only part that was in that movie. It wasn't a movie. That little part of the song was in like a really famous movie. I want to say Remember the Titans, but it might not be that one.
Wow. I just know that from culture.
I know. But I remember I told you a lot of oldies, I only heard them in clips. Because you know those commercials where they would like show like a compilation of songs in the 70s or the 80s and all that kind of stuff.
I used to stay up late at night, like watching like Info TV, and you see those like like with like 50 CDs. Yes. Like, who is buying 50 CDs?
But I was like, Mom, I wish we could get them because I would listen. That was the only way I found out about these songs because I'm like my household. My mom doesn't know these songs. She's Nigerian. Like I don't have any other way to find this out except for from TV. So I would always hear these songs in clips.
Girl, I have got to introduce you to some of this stuff. It's so good.
And then of course you recognize it. You hear it in movies too. So sometimes I'm like, wow, I never heard the whole song. So that was
so good.
So that's one of them.
I think it's Jeffrey Osborne and LTD, maybe.
See, I don't even know who it is. I just know it's an old school song. Anyways, my Nigerians are doing great things. There are new books, new everything coming out. I can't wait to purchase this one book I was telling Whitney about, called Yinka, Where's Your Husband? Yinka, where's your husband? With a Z. Husband. And I'm telling you guys, buy it.
Somebody should be putting out their short story. You gonna finish that?
You know what, Whitney? Don't come for me. Let me finish my Blerd Out. Let me finish my Blerding Out.
That seems like it's done, but you haven't actually put it out or anything.
Wow. Stewie nerd on the mic.
Let's clap for I read it. It's very good, but she hasn't put it out.
I have not. You're right. I have not. But anyways, what I was saying was, I was just excited for what I'm seeing Black people do in arts, culture, music, everything.
I know. Look at us.
So much
Two
stuff.
Black girls on the podcast, Mike. Hey. One who won't put her stuff out.
We have one who hasn't put her stuff out either.
Oh, girl. You coming for me in my glass house?
Yes, exactly. I'm throwing stones. Hey,
we both just gonna be living on some like glass shards.
Tea kettle meat pot. Anyway, but we gonna get it together, y'all. Me and Whitney are gonna get it together someday. But in particular, I wanted to talk about this one show that I had mentioned in the Black Love episode. And I was talking about how so many people were saying this is such a great show. I kept hearing about it, and I was like, I'm gonna watch.
Remind people what it is again, girl.
Finally watched it, and you guys, I don't normally binge too much. I get lightheaded, and then it's like my brain's like, you have too much exposure to like light. You need to like shut down. So it's like I can't binge too much. Okay. But I straight binged this whole series like overnight. Like I watched it late at night, and I binged the whole thing, and I did not sleep until like 4 a.m. because I was so engrossed in the show. And so this show was called Love Life. So this is season 2. Mind you, I did not watch season 1. But this is a show kind of like Modern Love that I talked about where, well, not like Modern Love because each episode is about different people. But in this one,
I still need to check that out because you made it sound really good.
It is very good. But for not Modern Love, for Love Life, each season is about a different person. So it's like it's within the same word. So it's kind of like transmedia, where it's like the first season was about one person, and then there's an outlier person who's connected. like you'll see them in the first season's person.
Tertiary character.
Yes, yeah, you'll see because Anna Kendrick is the person for the first season, and it's very much about her love story as whatever the character's name is. I didn't watch that. I watched the second season because I wanted to see what this love story is about. So the black guy Marcus lives in the world of Anna Kendrick's character. Let's just call her Anna because I don't know what her name is. Oh, her name is Darby. Darby's her character. So, like, they know each other. You see her come in and out of the season, but she's not really there because it's not about her. It's about Marcus.
Sorry, I think I might be getting stuff mixed up because they both have love in the title. Is this set in the UK or in America?
This is in America.
Okay.
Yes. So this one's in America, and it I'm telling you guys, it's fantastic. Like, you're talking about black love, black ordinariness. We were trying to talk about that last time. Making this movie, this series made me like. See, I was totally engrossed, y'all. Like, super engrossed in this love story. I could not stop watching it. And the guy has such agency in the show to just be a mess, come together, love sweetly, do all this, make all these mistakes, and not feel, In fact, that example that we started off the top of the pod was from his show, from his episode.
Which example?
The example about the white person who got pregnant by the black. It comes from his episode. Because that was the only example I could come up with.
Okay.
But it comes from his episode. From his series. And it was just so awesome. I just liked seeing that it was just regular black people love. And it wasn't all this extras-ish, involved. It was fantastic, y'all.
Far the way you look
really, Whitney.
at me.
That's not apropos at the moment. I'd rather you sing the robot song. I'd rather you sing the robot song.
Dead. Sorry, no, it's just starting that. The distant future, the year 2000.
Oh my God.
The distant future, the year 2000.
The humans are dead. Do 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 do. The humans are dead. Do 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 do. We use poisonous gases, and we poison their asses. Binary solo. 0000001 0000111. Oh, one. Come on, sucker. Lift that battery. Boogie. 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 Rubber boogie. Anyway, guys.
For any guys you don't know, that was Flight of the Conchords.
Yes, first season HBO series from back in the day.
And they actually made music too. Like that was from like
they were like a musical comedy act. Like that was their act, but it worked. Like it's the most funniest, clever music. And it's actually, the thing I liked about that was that the music was well made. So you could literally just jam out to one of their comedy songs, and that's what I did all the time. Anyway, we're not going to go there, but
okay.
Love Life is amazing. You all have to go and watch. Seriously, all of you, whoever is listening. And it's not even about, it's just a love story. Like, you just see this guy just doing things, and you see black love form. You see him in relationships with different sorts of women, different races. You see him just being a regular dude. Like, I loved it, and I'm liking it because I'm seeing more examples of black people having more agency in their shows and in the representation. And it's funny because it's like it went through the past, but it actually dealt with some of the pandemic issues. Like, it was going through time. Each episode was going through time, and you saw him deal with some of the issues after George Floyd and the pandemic. It's very interesting how they did that. I loved it, and so I highly recommend going and watching season 2 of Love Life on HBO Max because I have not watched season 1 yet. Okay.
Okay. All right.
So make sure you hit that season 2. Don't be like me and thinking you watching season 1 when you were watching season 2 of another show. I did that with Modern Love on Amazon Prime. I was like, I started the show from the beginning, and I was like, nah, I watched season 2 first.
I've never had it happen on like Amazon Prime. But like sometimes on like Netflix, you watch stuff like Hassan Minhaj, his show. Like it's so weird. Like it starts from the top, like from the most recent episode, and goes down. Like
it's supposed to start from the beginning.
And so it's weird. You have to like constantly go back instead of being able to just watch it through because it's going to go in the opposite direction of what you want it to go.
Is awesome. Also, I watched Ali Wong's new.
I did too.
Oh my God, it was funny.
It was funny.
She's a mess. Now, if you don't like sex jokes, then I recommend you don't listen. Because there are some people, I was talking to somebody who she's like, she just thinks sex jokes are really lazy. But the way in which Ali did it, I just thought it was hilarious. So to me, I enjoy a sex joke. So. In fact, here's a joke, but it's not a sex joke. Here's a joke, Whitney. it's apropos to our episode because we're talking about Beyonce. But
Okay.
what did the jelly donut say to Beyonce?
I don't know.
I don't think you're ready for this jelly. Come on, it's funny. Like,
Body so delicious
it's
for you, babe.
My donuts jelly-licious for you, babe. It's funny. I think.
Oh
it's
man, that takes me back.
now I
man.
have an inappropriate joke too. If you want to
Okay,
hear that
all
one.
right.
All right. So, what did the long saggy boob say to the other long saggy boob?
I don't know.
If we don't get some support here, somebody will think we're balls. That's an inappropriate one, but I thought it was hilarious. All right, so this is not a dad's joke segment, so we're just gonna move on now and talk about Black is King, okay?
All right.
Something's coming around my way, around my eye. Say, mama, say so. Hey, Black Parade. Hey, hey. All right, so if you guys haven't seen Black is King, well, I don't fault you because Whitney just watched it this year too, so she extra late. But it's on Disney Plus streaming, and it's really, it's a film, but it's really more so like a visual album, a soundscape, as Beyonce calls it, of the story kind of highlighting the Lion King story, the original Lion King story, but also telling all these other stories of Black experience. Very allegorical.
I
it's
felt
so many
almost
things.
Inceptioned by it.
Yes.
It's like it's something inside of something inside of something.
Exactly. She's and then also it's like implanting something in our brain as well. Because when you watch it, I watched this when it first came out in 2020. I watched Black is King like 3 times, and I remember telling Whitney that there was so much debate and issues going around this when it came out because people were saying that Beyonce was using cultural appropriation versus people saying no, it's cultural appreciation. And I'm like, well, all Black people come from Africa anyway, so it's like it's part of it's just a lost culture.
Part of it's like you weren't voluntarily.
Yes, we would all be still there if they didn't come and take us away from there. You know what I mean? We're like the only ones like separated from everybody else. You know, ain't no land masses to walk across. So I definitely, especially someone who is directly African because I have my heritage, and my family is all from Nigeria. I did not feel like she was doing any cultural appropriation. In fact, she was actually accentuating the culture. She was appreciating the hell out of it.
And also reconnecting with the culture. Because it's
like,
by being taken, like diaspora Black people, we were separated from who we were. Yes. We did not get to keep that. And
separated and stripped of everything.
Yeah. And now, granted, don't come for me, people. Don't like decline my Black card. I've never actually watched either of the Roots, all of the episodes.
Ooh.
But like I know of like the parts, and it's like, what is your name? Kunta Kinte.
Oh,
like, your name is Toby.
I do it the best because I always use the whip. I do the whip sound.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. What's your name, boy? Kunta Kinte. Waka-chow! I said your name is Toby. What's your name, boy? Kunta Kinte. Waka-chow! I always do the whips.
But it's like,
That's not funny, but
we were deprived of our culture. Like, we were separated from it. So
yes.
like, that's not appropriation. That's reconnecting.
Yes, I agree. So a lot of people, and then I'm honestly, because Beyonce is like, I don't know why people consider her a controversial figure at times, because some people are like, she's demonic, she's they're part of the
Illuminati.
I
don't understand where all this comes from.
Artist. It's hatred, and then some people look into symbolism, and I'm like, yes, there is some symbolism to look at, but I'm like, at the same time, you don't have to worship or enjoy the person. You can still appreciate the art form that comes from them, because I don't care what nobody says. Beyonce has an awesome singing voice, and she's a great ass performer. So to me, she's a true artist. That's what I appreciate. Any
artist that is dancing their butt off on stage falls head first,
some high heels, and pop back up,
head first down the stairs and pop back up,
like a pop tart.
Deserves my money, because if it were me, I'd be like, shut the lights off. The show is over.
Shut it down.
Yes, everybody leave.
Get off the way.
Exactly.
Man,
nobody look at me either.
You just like remember that thing? I think it was Stewie or Brian on Family Guy, and they're like, when they got a cut, they're like, maybe it was Peter. But you just there.
It was Peter, and then they did they did it again with Lois.
Oh my god, it's hilarious. But exactly, I mean, she's a true professional and a visionary. Like,
so creative.
I don't hate on her. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm definitely more of a fan of Beyonce's old school Beyonce.
Yeah.
So then some of her new stuff, I'm not a fan of as much. But I don't say that I dislike her or anything. So it's just me not being tuned. Like, now this music here for Black is King, I'm all here for it. I mean, I loved every piece of music that was in it, except for one little song I wasn't feeling.
Which one?
She wasn't singing in there. One of her, I think her name is Jessie Reyes. She had the little dark part where she was Scar. I wasn't really feeling that song.
I actually thought that was cool. But
the visual
reason I thought it was
cool.
Yeah, okay. So because I can't
like
really remember much about the song, but yeah, the visuals, which brings me to another point: the cinematography for Black is King.
Okay, so let's get into the different points that we liked. But anyway, I just want to wrap up that conversation because people kept coming at her, and I was like, "This is what we need."
Sorry, I was trying to find what the first song of Black is King was, but I haven't found it yet. But one of the songs, going back to what you were talking about and what we were both talking about, is Find Your Way Back. And it's like, I feel like that's very apropos to like diaspora Black people, because like we were separated, so we're trying to find our way back to the culture we were separated from forcibly.
And it's like, well, to subjugate people, you need to do like a mind fuck. Oh, sorry. You need to do like a mind. You do. You have to break them down in their mind. So it's like they strip them of everything: their tongue, their culture, their being, their humanity. Like, they forgot what they were. They forgot that they used to do awesome, cool hairstyles. They forgot they used to have dances. They forgot that what they worshipped. So in some sense. So it's like they had to strip that all down so they could subjugate them so fiercely that they did, So it really is a stripping of yourself, and you have to remember, and I feel like she was really trying to let us Black people know, especially during that time where we were feeling so attacked and angry. I don't know, a lot of us was feeling, I don't know about y'all, I was angry. I actually emailed all my senators and local, state, federal, all of them. I emailed all of them what are you doing? What are you doing, McCain? What are you doing? All these people, I was like, what are you doing? Mr. Galala, what are you doing? I was like, Miss Hamburger, what are you doing? Oh my God, Mark Warner. I was like, Mark Warner, what are you doing about this? I emailed, I don't know about y'all, I was so angry during that time. I emailed the mess out of all of my representatives in each level, because I was like, something needs to be done now. Otherwise, you're gonna be choosing violence in these streets. You know what I mean? But it was just kind of out of a sense of not knowing what to do,
right?
Feeling like I wanted to be part of the solution and not having that solution. But what was so needed was that healing balm that Beyonce provided in this, which was an exemplary showing of who we are and what our potential is, showing the king and queenship of us.
How
as
regal.
Black people. How amazing, how
culture
strong,
is.
how beautiful, how diverse, how verified we are. It's like verified. I mean, how much variety there is in us. And it was just gloriously portrayed in this. It was portrayed in multiple levels.
Sound effects.
I get tongue tied very easily because I'm excited. My brain moves faster than my lips. But it was portrayed in multiple levels. You have the music, the artistry, the cinematography, the costumes, the scenery, the locations, the hair, the makeup choices, everything.
Yes.
The props in the stage design, whatever was there, it was portrayed in so many levels. And
it was a spiritual experience as well.
Thank you. That thing soothed me. I watched that thing, and I remember feeling so soothed and proud. I felt extremely proud. Like, I was like, Beyonce did the thing. And it was very Afrofuturistic, to be honest with you, because it's like she really got in and looked at these different cultural things, looked back into our culture, mixed the two, found a way to connect the two. so many things that was in each piece, each song, each scenery that you're just like, wow. This is you. This is how we are. It was like living Wakanda. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I always talk about going to Wakanda.
It gave me Black Panther vibes.
Yes.
It gave me Black Panther vibes. Of course, you got the Lion King vibes because I know it was like loosely based on
story.
that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like these different vibes just came through.
The poetry, the sound bites of people talking about their experience, or like there was like some evocations, you know, inside of that with people with the sound bites. People saying this about Black culture, but like you need to remember who you are, and you need to Black people need to be uplifted, or brown skin girl, all these different things, all these poetic pieces that even Beyonce was saying herself. It was all together.
And I just
want to.
I was looking for the song to find the lyrics that I love, because like in Bigger, which was like one of the first songs. Oh, yeah. One of the really great ones that I love is like, step in your essence and know that you're excellent. Rise, the spirit is teaching. Oh, I'm not just preaching. I'm taking my own advice. And I love the part where she sings about I'm taking my own advice, because it's like, I'm telling you these things, but I also sometimes have to remind myself. Like, we all have to, like, remind ourselves some things. Like,
yeah. I like the whole part that you're part of something way bigger. Bigger than you, bigger than... I just love it. I just love it. And I like how she kind of honestly, in the interview she gave, because she rarely gives interviews, but she gave one just to let everyone know her heart and what her whole intention for this labor of love, really. She did it not only for us, she did it for her own children. She's got Black children, so she did it for them too. So it was a labor of love for her as well. But it was to remind, she's like, I wanted to re-identify or re-educate and redefine what Black is. Like that word Black, which is always associated with something dark, dismal, bad, lower, debased. And she was like, no, it's not. You know, we children of dust are the Black regal queens and kings, you know. It's just like, she just wanted to bring us back to our roots. Our earthliness, our being, our beauty. Remember that line I told you? That she's like, you were beauty before they knew what beauty was. That really hit.
And when you said that, that just reminded me of another reference that I forgot, because I said, like, Lion King, Black Panther, but also the Bible. You got like the scene with like the baskets, very Moses. And then one of the lines was in there was something about you are dust, return to the water. And it's like, you know, in the Bible, you know, from dust we came and to dust we shall return, or something like that.
I add, dust is brown, so I'm all for the proponent that I believe Adam and Eve were not white. I don't care what the whole Bible stuck by Sunday school videos I watched growing up. Jesus is not white, okay? At least Adam and Eve weren't. I don't think they were. That's just my 2 cents. Be like the lady on Blackish, Black Jesus. Okay, so let's talk about some. What was one of your favorite parts?
One of my favorite parts, I definitely love Spirit. Spirit was wonderful. But
so you talking about the songs now, or are you talking about what particular thing?
Since it's a visual album, like it's
I know it's hard to talk about. Like, yeah, right. It's
you can't really separate the songs
right. It's
from
visual storytelling on another level. It's beautiful.
So like everything involved in like in Spirit was just like wonderful and awesome. I also really love.
Watch the heavens open. Okay,
and I love the very much. A lot of it was like very much like Black appreciation, reconnecting with African roots. Yes. But I feel like that part at the end was very much like Black American, whereas the other part, like the preceding parts, was like Africans, focusing on like Africa and the roots, where we come from, our regal and royal roots and whatnot. And this is the present or the future, which you think of like Black gospel, and that's like more modern. This is like us taking this is our interpretation of like Christian music. It's very it's distinctive.
Yeah, that's that. Okay, so let's go into the music, because she definitely used different music styles to tell this story, which I was just in awe of, because if you look at the beginning, the slower songs, she's got the slower music, and then she's got these rhythmic ones, then the ones that are like more Afro beats, and then there's like ones that are spiritual, and then there's some poppy ones like Find Your Way Back. It's kind of poppy.
Oh yeah, that's good.
I love that one. And then she's just glistening and shining everywhere. Like, man, the costumes in this was just, I remember me and my sister watched it the third time, and we counted how many wigs she wore, and it was over 70.
Wow.
I just remember it being over 70 wigs that I counted because like everything, it was just so over the top, and it was like in a good way though, not like overkill. It was over the top, as in like only Beyonce can get away with like 40 feet hair. Just I have to be on like an industrial ladder just to have the hair hit the ground. I was like, I don't know who made that damn wig.
Heavy is the head, but where's the crown?
Heavy is the head, but she loved that. She loved it. The dancing, everything was diversified. The dancing styles were all, you could see they really incorporate so many things from different cultural groups, different ethnic groups in Africa. And then you could see even some American styles also in there, but you could see the connection between like where they would have come from. You know, like there was more like crumping style, and those like, I don't know if it's those style with, you know, the people that distort their arms, like they contort their arms and break their.
What is that called?
I thought it was crumping, but I don't think it is called crumping.
No, it's
a dance style.
Yeah. Popping, locking.
Is that no?
Really?
Popping lock is like, but it's the one where they they can twist their arms in weird way. Those
people, I don't know what that's called.
I don't know what that's called, but that part was in that scene with the black with the scar scene before that. I was like, this is creepy. But those things, you could see the transition of where those styles came from, and it's like a weaving in and out. You know what I mean? It's almost like each one is influencing each one. Yeah. Because honestly, to be honest with you, American music, especially Black American music, has influenced the continent now. Like a lot of the Afro beats, it's like a fusion of like regular beats and African music that was already there. And they have a lot of rap styles in them. It seems like almost you saying that like a flywheel or a virtuous cycle. Yes, one feeds the other and it continues. Yes, and the now, circle of life. Yes, and now here a lot of music is being influenced by African music, and it's just like I love the confluence that's happening. You know, it's like each one is experiencing each other, and then they're like gaining cues from each other, and they're like reforming themselves into something new. Like Afrobeats is really a fusion. It's evolving, and so it's like they think, okay, well, the African Americans are like, we need to get something from Africa, and Africans are like, we're taking something from you guys because American culture has been so seen. You know what I mean? And so I like that she showed that confluence of our differences coming together, but how we connected to this part, or how we are seen in this part, and all the various ways you can see Black. It's unlimited, honestly, because there's so many ways you can see Black in this Black is King film. And I thought it was amazing. Whitney. I was blown away. It makes you, I mean, I feel like it's probably a little bit different for you, just because your family is actually directly from Africa, whereas my family is like diaspora Black. So Cameroonian, right? Huh? Cameroonian, right?
Yes. My mom did this African ancestry thing where they can trace you back to what tribe. So we're like neighbors to Bola's family because they're Nigerian and we're Cameroon right next door. You're we are the Titar tribe of Cameroon. Cool. My mom was really sad because since she's female, she could only trace back the female roots. Oh yeah, they only do it through the matrilineal. They only do it through that. Because I know she would have needed a male relative in order to be able, because if you were a male relative, you could actually trace both the male and female. Oh,
I thought they only traced the female for all of them.
No, they could do both. But like, whereas if you had, like, if my mom had a brother, because she's only got a sister. Well, technically she's got two, but she's since she has a sister, if she had a brother, she would have been able to find out both the her mother and father's side of like the roots. Wow. Because she's female, she could only find out the female side because as women we've got the two X's, we don't have the Y. But because the men have both X and Y, you can find both sides. Wow. But my mom doesn't have any
brothers or uncles.
I mean,
the male relatives alive still. Right.
She needed a male uncle. She needed a male relative from her dad's side because we have great uncles, but they're from her mother's side.
Mm-hmm.
So she would have needed
nothing about her father's side.
Yes,
I understand her.
And there wasn't. No, we did have a cousin down in Boykin, but he actually passed a few years ago. So it's like we don't really have any way.
I know it's hard, but at least that one that you know is still
really cool. Yeah,
so you can look
really
into that
interesting.
tribe and I like that with that test that they do is that they let you know which tribe instead of letting you just you're like 50% African. No, finding all that stuff out is not as interesting as knowing the tribe, because each tribe, it has different qualities and stuff. Like even within my own country, my own family's country, Nigeria, the tribes are all different. The Yorubas and the Igbos and the Hausas and the Fulani, each tribe has their own language. They have their own different style. There's things that they're known for. Like Yoruba people are known for being extremely spiritual. They're very connected to spirit stuff. Everything is spiritual for them. Igbo people are known for being very commercial. They are building trade routes. They were always constantly working on businesses and trading and all that kind of stuff. So they're very good with money, and all that stuff is very important to them. So it's like you would know which tribe is good at what thing. And you could see like, oh, what do I get from this tribal ancestry? You know what I mean? That's more important and I think more meaningful to me.
Yeah.
To know which tribe than to just be like, oh yeah, I'm 50% African. You know that already. You know what I mean? Honestly, I felt like taking the test, but I thought maybe I should, but I was like, it's going to come up like 100% Yoruba because like both of my parents are Yoruba. But then I was like, well, maybe there's some other tribes on there. You know what I mean?
You never know. You know, people be keeping stuff on the down low.
Right. My mom was extra light. I was like, maybe there's some white in my family.
Do you remember the movie Penelope?
Yes, the pig nose.
Yeah.
Yes, I think we talked about this last time.
But I was just talking. It relates because like. They thought that, the curse is it's not actually, there's no curse anymore because this other child got born and she didn't have the curse. And it's like, but this other child was not actually a so-and-so family. She was a so-and-so because the mother has like slept with the, with the butler.
Okay.
And it's like, she was actually a so-and-so.
Okay, I see.
So that's what I'm saying. Sometimes people just be keeping stuff on the down.
That's true. You never know. You never know. And so back to Black is King, y'all. But I just felt like Beyonce was really trying to tell everybody, like, Black people, you need to occupy your space. Remember and recognize and don't settle for anything less, that you are a king, queen, beautiful. You are not what they say you are. And that's what was in the I remember those words from the movie too. It says that you are not what they say you are. You are this is what you are. And it's like she's trying to re-educate everybody. You're not these thugs that they out here. You're not these hoes and prostitutes and thoughts and all this nonsense that they've been portraying us to be lesser, dumber, not as important. That's not us. I don't care where you go. That's not us, And so I really hope the main message of this movie really holds up and gets through, And then she portrays it so much in the music.
We are divine. We are regal. We are royal. We are
everything.
Yes.
We're every Black people. It's all in us.
Anything you want done, baby, you can do it naturally. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I can cast a spell, secrets you can't tell. Mix special brew, but fire inside of you. Anytime you feel danger, then instantly I will appear.
You know all the words like that?
Girl, I stole my mom's Bodyguard CD when I was... I stole so many of my mom's CDs. I told her that, like, recently. She just kind of gave me, like, a look, like a salty look. Like,
of course. You stole them. You made the same face your mom makes.
I appropriated them.
Oh, my God. Let's talk about the costuming in this. So, the costuming is, like, again, it's such a big thing. And I definitely see the Afrofuturism vibe in this because she took some of the cloths and the styles and the way the different groups wear their clothes. And she just, like, elevated it a little bit more. There was, like, big sweeping fabrics, like... She cut them in different ways. I remember we were talking about this bead wig.
Regal. It's
like the bead wig.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I want that bead wig so bad.
I was asking Bo because I was like looking at it. I was like, I wasn't sure if it was
like a hairstyle.
Her hair was just like the beads were threaded through her hair. Yes. But Bo was like, no, these are wigs.
Because you can make them. And I was like, I really want one. I really want one because when you wear them, it just looks
very
so
cool.
Interesting.
Oh, it looks so awesome.
There were so many like like gele. Gele means head wrap in Yoruba, and then a lot of the other tribes just know it as a gele. So a lot of people just say gele in general for a head wrap, and even in other African countries they will say gele, unless they have another word for it. But just the head wraps that people were wearing, they were styled in the way my family. I've seen it. I love in the culture.
Oh my God.
And I was like, it's so
you
beautiful.
Guys should, if you guys have the opportunity to just
the clothing,
see
the costume,
like the Nigerian, like going to like Bola's church for the times that I've been. It's just like it's amazing. It's so awesome. Like it looks
just like that on the regular.
It is. It's so regal.
Yeah. See, that's what I was saying with how it was hard for me when I realized it was hard for me because I grew up seeing this form of blackness that was regal, that was celebrated. Like, you could not tell my family nothing. Like, I didn't grow up with this chip on my shoulder, this whole oppressive thing. I didn't grow up with this history, really.
Not the institutional racism of America.
Yeah, I didn't grow up with this history because I was seeing my people expressed in, like, I only went to African events and things growing up. So I was always seeing us elevated. You could, like, Nigerians are so prideful. You can't tell them they cannot do anything. Just out of sheer stubbornness, they will do it for you and not even care. Like, we have this phrase called Naija no carry last, you know? So they were like, we ain't gonna be last or bottom or anything. But even at the time when my mom came to the U.S., Africans were really not celebrated. We were made fun of so bad. I've talked about this before, how somebody asked my mom where her tail was. And they've said all this nonsense to her, like so many things that she told me over the past that she never told me when I was young, that she experienced, but because she hides everything from me. So
it's not the type of thing that you want to really tell your children.
You're right.
You want to protect them while they're young.
You're
you
right.
Don't want that
and
apart.
I had to appreciate her for that because I didn't know she was experiencing all these things outside in the world. In America, and I did not know they existed. But the thing is, like,
she did her job as a mother. That's what
she did. But at the same time, it's like, but when I went out in the world myself, and then I experienced this racism for the first time when we were when we were looking for apartments, I was like, oh, this thing is still here. Like, I thought it was done and over with. I really did, because I had not seen or felt or experienced any of those things. But my idea of blackness is still like what I was growing up seeing. My mom did not raise us like that to think we were lesser, to think that this culture of slavery and all this none of that was portrayed in my eyes. I mean, I knew about it. I grew up watching it, but it was almost like this is a past thing that's over. That's what I thought. But for me, it's like I could not see the way we presented ourselves. We were wearing all this colorful outfits. We were wearing 5 colors and be looking sparkly.
Oh my God!
I saw that all the time. So I could not diminish black people they could not diminish it in my heart. Like, for me, I didn't care that this thing was in the world. I was like, for me, in my heart, I was like, you can't diminish what I see every day. My mom dresses up, even to church now. She's constantly decked out in the beautiful clothes, colors, and make herself look. And that's how we embody that's how we see ourselves, you know?
You know, and these type of things like Black Panther, things like Black is King, it like inspires me to want to connect even more from to have an outward representation of like the culture that we're connected to, African culture, because like I can tell you our household has never had a problem with blackness. I feel sometimes like my mom was borderline Panther level.
Yeah.
Like she was all about the blackness.
Power.
She was very
I love it.
Black is wonderful. You are strong.
She was blackity black.
In fact, she's like, you are even stronger than them because you have had to go through.
You is kind. You is smart.
You is important.
I always forget that last part.
Yeah, because I say it to I use the grammatically correct thing because it's like I'm not in the 60s.
Oh, okay.
but I tell that to my now. You are kind. You are smart. You are important. And then I throw in, and you're very handsome.
That's nice. I think it's so cute. That's important to do.
It is, especially for like you've got to let me say we
as in black
we
folks
have to instill these things into our children before the world gets to them.
Yes,
because if you instill it to them, if you ingrain it to them enough, then even when the world gets to them, they have a shield.
Yeah. Like a buffer.
A buffer. It's like, you can keep saying what you want, but I've already had this, and this is what I believe. I believe what my mother and father told me about myself.
Yeah.
Like, so you can say what you want, but I don't believe it because...
Yeah, because when I'm not gonna lie, that thing shook me to the point where, because I remember when you and T, our friend at the time, well, still our friend, but at that time, you were both trying to explain to me what that whole situation was about and why that white woman did not want to serve us or anything or talk to us. And I was just like, yo, what was wrong with that lady? She just tripping. Something's wrong with her. Can you believe her? And I totally did not see, and you guys knew it automatically. But me, it took me a minute, and then they have like, Bola, don't you know? You had to spell it out for me because I was so like, nah, this mess is over. I was so wrong. And I still remember that scene. Like, the feeling of like something like lifting off my eyes. Like I can still see it. It was like a bright day. We were surrounded by buildings and concrete, and I was outside thinking like, whoa, did that really just happen to me in 2008 or so, that it was? And I was like, wow, so this thing isn't gone. It was like something came off my eyes, you know? And I still remember that whole like lifting off of like you're seeing something that is here, like it's still here.
Yeah.
It was shocking to me. I mean, I still, like you said, she wasn't going to make me feel bad about myself. In fact, I felt bad for her because I thought she was dumb. Because I'm like, you're getting rid of potential clients, but whatever.
Yeah, it was pretty dumb. I mean, honestly, I have not experienced
anything
a lot
beyond
of it.
that. Beyond that.
I mean, there's some things that happen to you. You're not sure about it, but it could be a microaggression. You're like, they could be a racist. Yeah. You're not exactly sure. You're like, you could be a racist. Yeah. I don't know, but this is. But like, yeah, no, I have not had a lot of experiences.
Not the straight up, like, overt.
Right.
Not just like my mom, where somebody's telling you to your face, like, where's your tail, and some nasty crap like that. Or calling you a monkey or something.
Yeah. But I do recognize. And, like, it's just... Like I told you, now this doesn't relate to racism, but this just relates to how I was like treated, like in school. Like I told you, my mother is such a freaking lioness that I wouldn't even tell her. Like, it was like middle school, and someone had said something not nice to me. I wasn't gonna tell her about it because I was afraid for them.
Then when they're like, my mom roll up in her.
This is gonna be some like
if Mama Booker rolls up in her.
This is gonna be some Clash of the Titans level mess up in here. You will be smoked.
See, that's my own issue that I'm worried about. If I have my own kid and anybody
but
rolls
that's what's
up,
supposed to happen. Like I feel like I am very well adjusted. Like I am well insulated against the world because I am I was and am so loved by my parents. And my extended family. We are a big family, and we stay together. We talk to each other.
You know what the problem is? Not every black person sees that. They don't have that. Some of them are devoid of that insular thing, installation. That it's sad that some black people are the cause of the lesser
trauma.
Feeling, the trauma.
Yes,
they put them down. They tell them they're not going to be more than this, than their environment, than wherever they are, than these gangbangers. And that's the sad part, that they've been reduced to such things. When we are made, I believe, I'm a spiritual person. I believe in God and Jesus, and I like we were made in the image of God. Like
yes,
it says like, how can we not I remember it says in the Black is King, somebody says it in there that like we was made in the image of God. How can I not be a God myself? And it's almost like we are like mini gods. Like we are like God. We made with all this glorious potential and creativity and ability. And I was like, I can't see myself as these lesser things. You know, you're not gonna put that on me.
Right.
But these people that they don't know this from the beginning because they don't have those foundations. My mom instilled those spiritual foundations in us,
and when
like
you
your
think
parents
about
did. You know,
like there was this. I don't know if it was from a commercial or if it was just like an article I read. I think it was from a commercial, but the commercial said that in the eyes of a child, mother is God. So what your parents tell you, you take it as gospel. If your parents tell you that you are kind, you are smart, you are important, then you ain't gonna believe anybody else if they tell you different.
Yes.
But if you don't come up with that, then the world can get to you, or they get to you. I mean, if your parents are the ones who did it, then you're gonna believe that. But when you put it into them enough, then that is all they will believe. That is all they believe. You can't tell me shit about
Exactly.
myself because my parents loved and love me so much that I have so much love overflowing to last me the rest of my life.
Oh, I like that, Whitney. That was so sweet. Don't make me cry.
That's right, but it's true and it's important. That's why we have to build up our children and build each other up. Like I loved watching like the scene with like Beyonce and like Kelly Rowland in them and like the hugging and stuff.
Yeah,
because
like,
you know what's
beautiful.
also sad is that sometimes we, like you said it in relation to like the parents and stuff, but I feel it's like society as well. Sometimes we're the ones who bring each other down.
Yeah.
We're the ones who are like the crab in the bucket. Like we can all succeed. There's not like there's enough to go around. You don't have to pull somebody else down just so you can get up.
And it's like all these things that also racism had built. The little step cousins of racism, colorism, all these things like this, and you're just like, where you think a shade of black is better than another shade, and it's so insidious. You're just like, this is stupid. We're all black. We're just, you're a little bit darker, it's ridiculous. But it does so much harm to the black community.
It is. It's like another.
It's an issue.
It's institutionalized. Like it's not just coming from outside our culture. They have made it so institutional that like we do it to each other. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's so far ingrained. It's like like you said, like brainwashing. Like. Yeah.
That's why I like the scene in the Brown Skin Girl song where you see Beyonce, who is a lighter skinned black person and therefore culturally seen as much better looking.
Getty. Oh, is that not how you pronounce it? From like Bollywood?
Oh, Gori. Yeah, they have colorism problem either, which is part of why people bleach. And even in my family's country, the bleaching industry makes money, okay? And it's disgusting to look at, honestly. The bleaching is just ridiculous. But I like that Beyonce is normally seen, because she's so much lighter and seen as better. Like, they just see it all around. But I like that she's telling Kelly, who's the darker skinned one, that she's beautiful in that scene. It's not only about sisterhood, friendship. It's like trying to heal that whole thing. She had Lupita Nyong'o and Naomi Campbell, who are much darker than even her and Kelly.
Lupita Nyong'o is one of the most. She's got some of the most gorgeous skin I have ever seen.
I always love me some dark chocolate. I'm sorry.
It is.
It's such beautiful. It's irresistible skin. Like it's resilient skin.
Almost iridescent.
Yes, it's resilient. The most resilient skin. Darker skin is so resilient to like my sister. I have one sister that's darker than all of us, and her skin is always. She doesn't ever have blemishes. She doesn't ever have issues. Her skin is always just like, I don't know what she does, but I'm always like, man, I have a spot on my forehead right now. I'm pissed because you can see it because I'm like caramel brown, but she's darker skin, and I'm like, no, this is beautiful. Your skin will be so. And I just love it. Like, I love the dark skin. And I'm like, we need to stop being seen compared to apes and all this BS. It's disgusting. Stop doing it to yourselves. I saw this week, Whitney, I watched a clip of it was like a social experiment where they were trying to do this thing for black men to get them to talk about stuff. In fact, I'm going to like post that video on our show notes so you guys can watch it too, because it was really nice to see black men talking about these issues openly. And one of them was a black man who was darker skinned. He was much darker, and he had to be honest and say that he was the only one standing when they asked the question about lighter skinned blacks are better looking, and a lot of the other guys went to disagree, but he went to the agree line, and he had to be honest about what was programmed into him as a young person. He was always picked on for how dark he was, and so in his mind he always saw light is bright, light is white, is bright, is better, and he was like, he knows that now this is bad, but he knows that deep down it's like it's still something that's in him. That's why he went to agree instead of going to disagree with like all the other boys went to disagree. He went to agree. And he had to explain it. And I'm like, this colorism is messing with our brains. It's making black women think that the darker skinned ones can only be used as sex symbols, video hoes, and the light skinned ones are the trophy ones that they need to be marrying and wifing up. And it's disgusting, and it deteriorates our unity.
Because you look at some fine dark chocolate. Oof. Mike Coulter from Luke Cage.
Yes, look at him.
Oh my God. Woo.
Look at him.
Yes, girl.
But again, there's also this thing that a lot of black women have about a lot of those guys marrying white women. You know what I mean? That's another issue. I don't really want to get into that because that's about interracial, and that's a whole other thing. But I know some black women feel some kind of way when they see these dark brothers always going for the light skin or the Mexican girls or the white girls, and they feel like they're being like discarded. You know, it's like, oh, they can treat us badly, they can sleep around and cheat on us and use us, and then they marry those ones. It's an issue, but it's like, I really would like the colorism to go away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I really would like people. We're all just black people. You know, we're all different shades.
Ordinary people.
Exactly. In one family, you can have all these shades. And it's not just black. In Hispanic culture, we saw that with Encanto. You saw all the different, there's Afro-Latinos.
Yes.
You saw the whole family had different shades in there, and I love that they showed that. Like India, too. They have dark skin. India has some people that are just as brown as black people. But they only call themselves brown. I'm like, you black, okay? I'm just letting you know, okay? So it's like the colorism was made and used by the colonial powers and the white people of that time to just further divide us. And I like that she addresses that in a way where she brings us together. Do you see that all the women that were in this video
makes me think
are all different shades?
It makes me think of like I don't know how long ago this episode was, but when we did Judas and the Black Messiah, like it's really institutional. They do not want you to be two together.
Yeah,
because like
they have to shoot it down.
Crap, what was his name?
Fred Hampton, right?
Yeah, like he brought together groups that you never would have thought, and I don't think has ever happened since. But he brought together the Black Panthers. He had these like redneck white gang type of. I don't know if it was a gang or not, but like, you know, groups. And then they had, wasn't it like a Hispanic or something group? Like
he was trying to bring them all together,
and he did. He successfully did it, and that just made him too dangerous.
Minorities get together, that's I'm sorry to say.
And it wasn't even just minority. It's about power, because the these were white dudes, but they were like the red, you know, the kind of
they were the ones without power. They were the whites without power,
right?
Yeah. And so I'm sorry to say this, but it kind of goes back to that discussion meeting you had about like whether you feel like America's a racist country, and it's not really about judging America. It's just like recognizing that the institution of this and the foundation of this culture of this country is racism, and it's still in all the systems. So it's just recognizing what it is, as opposed to just basically defaming people and like, oh, you're racist. It's not about labeling you. It's about recognizing what something is.
Don't just stick your head in the sand.
Yeah, and then unfortunately, to keep that power and balance, white people have done this in the past. They've done this. They've constantly have like been an obstacle in the way of black people. And that's what I've seen in history. There's some that raise up and join us, of course, but like the power that be mostly have been there to be an obstacle for us. Look at the Wall Street. They did not want us to join them in what they were doing. They wanted us to make our own thing, but because we were joining together and making our wealth, they shut it down. You know, that's what they were doing for him. He was bringing all the races together, and they're like, "No, we got to shut it down. It's better when th're fighting, and so they don't overpower us."
He's becoming too powerful.
It's disgusting. They've done it so many times. So it's insidious. It's terrible, but it's what it is. You know. And I like that with Beyonce's thing, she was trying to showcase what we could be if we realized our potential, realize our regality, realize and occupy that. Show us on it's almost hyperbolic, really, the representation, but it's neat because that's what's inside. It's like she's like, this is what you need to see yourself as. We need that visual to see it sometimes. Yeah, and if you see the clothes, everything's sparkling, everything's all,
and that's
everything's designed to the T.
Get me some
cat suits.
Well, I don't want to do the cat suits, but I want like the prints and things, the things that show like the pride in the culture.
Yeah. Oh, I can hook you up with some prints.
Oh, okay,
I can get you some fabrics.
Okay,
actually, I can tell you where you can get some clothes.
Oh,
we'll go shopping.
Awesome, because I would love, because like you see, it wasn't until I feel like for us as Black culture, especially specifically diaspora Black culture. It wasn't until you see things like Black Panther or you see like Black is King, you're like, look how beautiful
Africans look in their stuff. Yes. You guys can do the same thing. That's how I felt with
and we don't have to be in this like, but boring like stuff. Like you can still have a business suit on and have some color. Yes. Like you don't have to. It doesn't have to be all.
Yes, that's exactly it. Oh, is this? No, it's appropriate. Oh, my hair grows this way. It's appropriate. You need to get along with it. I don't ask you to fix your little waft of tuft that's on your head. I don't ask you to fix the grease right there. No. This is how we are. This is how we come. That's what I'm saying. We need to be unapologetically black. And it's not about, like, trying to, like, ignore or suppress other races, but it's about uplifting our own. Uplifting us so that we can feel like we're on the same playing field and just embody our space and be free. Like, she showed us being so free in this. And that's what the beauty of this was. She showed us being free. And it was almost like she said, hey, she told everybody, hey, you have the permission. Be free. Be you. Remember this about you. It was so wonderful. And the music was crunk, y'all. Like, come on. I was playing this album. Let's get into the music a little bit. I was playing this album all day. Like, all day once Black is King. The music is good. She really got to some African artists like Tiwa Savage, Yemi Alade, Burna Boy, Shatta Wale, Mr. Easy, a bunch of the South African art, so many different artists from different parts of Africa that she helped, that helped her make her vision and make these music, you know. And I thought it was just, it's fire. If you play that mess in the car, remember? I can't talk for too long. I too much go to try on. Don't jealous me. Don't you jealous me. I just love it. Or the Kings of the Kingdom. You're the Kings of the Kingdom. Or Baby, oh, I'm not much of a talker. It's just all good. I love hearing Pharrell trying to do like an African accent. It don't suit him that well, but I love the attempt. You know what I mean? And the fire of the power song. They'll never take my power. My power. The music is just fire. Like,
it is.
I have to give Beyonce props because all of the songs are just beautiful. I'm sorry.
It is.
It's beautiful.
Beautiful. Cinematography was beautiful.
Yes,
costumes
the scenes,
were
she went
beautiful.
all over the place, y'all.
Music was like
she went all over the place.
Spiritual.
I feel like every black person needs to watch this. I don't even care if you don't like Beyonce. You just need to watch this and be. You don't have to. I feel like I want to say this to Black Americans. I understand you feel like, okay, you're not African, you weren't born there, whatever, but try and connect to it. Try and connect and see. So you can see yourselves differently. So you can see more than with, well, I'm just this, I'm just that. No, you're not just this, just that. Try and connect. Try and figure out. Try and look into whatever you might be. Like, take a test or something so that you could see the connections of what your people came from, what lineage you came from. If not anything, let it elevate who you think you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I would just invite them to do that. And I like to be a bridge because I know that sometimes I've had it where some black people are, I'm not African enough for some Africans because I was born here. And then I'm not Black American really because I have this direct Nigerian connection. And I always sometimes be like, well, I just have two things to draw from. I had to see it like that now instead of feeling like an outlier in both groups.
Yeah.
I had to see myself that I have two things to draw from, and I use the best of both worlds. You know, and I would never deny my culture. I just can't. Like, I can't. I'm Nigerian. Like, I can't. It's not. I'm jollof rice life all day. You know what I mean? But I was growing up and raised in America too, so I get it. And I just think to black people, Africans love you. Don't even think that they don't. I know it's seen and depicted in places. They don't. Those ones, they just ignorant, okay? Try and talk to some of them. And Africans, try and talk to some black, learn the culture and history of here. Because they don't really know. They don't know what was going on, really. Some of them, they really don't. They make these judgments because of what they see when they get here. They're like, oh, these people are ghetto. And I'm like, no. Don't be too quick to judge. You don't know what they had, you don't know the history of this place that made them in this situation. So learn that, you know? And I think if we all just did that, it would be so much better. Like, so much better. Black is king, all of us together in our differences and our beauty and our similarities. We're all kings and queens. And that's all I'm going to say. Black is king is awesome.
I think that's a good place to wrap it up. I can snap on that.
Yeah, girl. Hey. All right, so I'm just gonna 10 glasses all the way for me. For Black is King. Should we even rate it? It's just good. Just go watch it, y'all.
I mean, it is a movie, so yeah, I think we still rate it.
All right, 10 glasses. That's my own.
10 glasses.
Yay! I really wasn't sure about you for a minute there. I was like, wow, Whitney, you're going to give this like 9 and a contact? Or 9? I was really
about it because I was like, when I was watching it, I wasn't thinking about like the rating, and I was
you're
like,
just
I got to go
taking it
back.
in, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, now that I have to like think
It's
about
a
it
piece
from
of
like,
art, honestly.
critically.
It's a piece of art.
And that's what made it so great is because
too many
it wasn't
art forms coming together.
it wasn't just like a movie. It was like an art piece.
Yes.
And that made it even more amazing.
Yeah, I agree. It was more than a movie to me. And I loved it, and I feel like it was for us, and it was beautiful. Spirit, watch the heavens open. All right, I'm done. Yeah. Okay.
All right. You
All
ready
right,
to wrap
everybody.
it up, girl?
We out of here. I'm about to keep singing. Long as the king, you're king, you know it. Bye, guys.
All right, blerding out.
Blerding out. Thanks for listening to our podcast. Please subscribe to our show on whatever podcast listening app you use and share the show with other Blerds and non-Blerd family and friends. And if you like our episode, please rate and review us on iTunes.
The intro and outro music is Twilight by Caption. You can find them on SoundCloud, username Caption, spelled Capshun. The show notes are by Bola, Hanson, and the audio engineering is by Whitney Booker.
And you can contact us by email at blerdtalkbw@gmail.com. And also, don't forget to get social, you guys. You can find us on our social media at Instagram and Twitter, with our @handle being @blerdtalkbw. And we've got our individual things going on too, y'all. So you can find me, your Blerd Fashionista, on Instagram and Twitter at BolaStoryB. That's B with 2 E's like the insect. And I've got my own personal YouTube channel, just Bola Sade. That's BOLASHADE. D as in dog, E as in elephant.
And this is Whitney. You can find me at my company, Luminavi Studios. The email address is wit@luminavi.com. That's WHIT@LUMENAVI.com. You can also find me on Twitter at Luminavi Studios.